yeah, that's theoretically, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
Culturally,
yeah.
probably
We're not gonna
racially,
get into that
yeah.
part.
We're not gonna get into
ethically,
that, even though
So
it's metaphor
it's
sometimes.
it's
yeah.
great to hear that we have women who are strong advocates of Black people overall, because
Yeah.
oftentimes that's the thing we see within the system is they have no idea of how the different problems that we have are rooted in anti-Black principles, like the man in the house rule, or you can only get benefits up to certain amount if there's a guy who is tangentially related, or we're going to get it from your baby daddy's paycheck, even though that man only makes $200 every single week.
Hmm.
Like those things
Hmm.
are rooted in Blackness because no matter what
Hmm.
anyone wants to say, the average household of a average net worth of a white household is $165,000. I last believed when I saw it. Black household, 12,000. There's a reason for that. That is not a mistake. That's the reason why almost every Black coworker I know, if something happens, you got to figure it out. Whereas almost
Hmm.
everyone here can testify. We know a white friend who has some rich uncle, rich auntie, grandma,
Yeah.
somebody who can take care of any big problem that comes up in life. Black
Yeah.
people don't
Economic
have
and
that
social.
kind of
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
the economic
Yeah.
things about it. But
Yeah.
I'll let you go
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
Professor
Yeah.
Noir.
Well. I'm feeding off of you guys and
But
questioning Q&A, that type of thing. But I did want to make again some points around the documentary where you can find it on Vimeo. There's an issue for whatever reason. There's an issue with the trailer that I've been back and forth with them about. And you get these bots. You can't even get a number. You get these bots stuff, and you got to type and wait for emails. It's ridiculous. And so the film is working, the link and everything is working. It's just a trailer, and so I don't want people thinking they can hop on. They don't see the trailer like, oh my god, this is a scam or something like that. But it's the Vimeo is working. The link is good. Um, so I want people to go to it because all these conversations are in the film by the women. It's 8 women, um, 2 attorneys, so 2 fathers advocates attorneys who've been in like Essence and Black Enterprise, have articles written about them. It's an attorney Janelle Colbert, Black Enterprise article written about her practice and fathers advocacy. Attorney Stephanie Burgess of the Burgess Law Center in Savannah, Georgia. Um, Attorney Colbert is in the Maryland area. That's where I am right now. Uh, so attorney Stephanie Burgess, again, father's advocate. She had an article written about her in Ebony. Then Love Dorsey, who is a social media, has a big social media presence and has talked vehemently about really staying balanced in her conversation, but really going hard with kind of what the sisters will tend to do, um, logically and illogically, uh, creating dysfunction in the households. Um, and she's married. Another sister who's married, I think she's also married polygamously, Goddess Ayana, who had a strong stances on these things, maintains a good balance, but also keeps it real in regards to what the sisters do. A social media system. A professor, Doctor um, Evandra Catherine out of Arizona State, does a lot of child study advocacy things. Big, her title is so big, it's crazy. She makes brilliant points. So y'all really got to check this documentary out in here. It's not just shameless plug. Got to check this thing out. And who am I leaving out? Wimi Saravino, Dominican sister, talks about the importance of fathers and what she's doing a master's student. And Teresa the Songbird, who was a poet. Her poem got really popular. "You So Black." She did it at the Stella Awards. It went viral, and it was called "You So Black." And she just talked about the dynamics of Black life. But the poem she did, that someone told me about, and I had to have her do it for the film, talks about again women who take advantage of the men as far as with the children. She goes into this whole thing. Her poem is off the chain. You can actually see it on YouTube. But she, spoiler alert, I have her in the doc also. Who am I leaving out? Oh, lastly, I'm leaving out Isabella Livingston, who kind of went through the old school thing, right? So if we kind of understand the dynamics of the politics of America and family dynamics, right? So back in, all through the early 18th century, if a woman got divorced, she was ass out because now it was, most of the times it was what the world dynamics still are and used to be. The man made the money, the woman didn't. So if she got into any type of situation, she was ass out. Laws were changed. I can't give you specific dates and times, but laws were shifted because of that. Fast forward, when you get into the 70s, 80s, and 90s, takes a whole other different dynamic in regards to how that changes. Now, Isabella Livingston, the in modern times, the man had the money and the power, he had the lawyers and all that kind of stuff. She had to get visitation, and she understood what it was like to go through what black men often go through. She said she was in court one time and broke down crying because she saw where this woman totally shouldn't have gotten custody of the child. She could tell the issues that the sister had, and she saw what the verdict was, and she broke down crying in this whatever court situation she witnessed. And so she was kind of on the opposite end. She didn't think she had to. I believe she had to pay some child support. I'm not sure on that, but I know it was an estranged relationship because the father got the custody and had the money and the leverage. Where in most cases, the women have the leverage, whether they're wealthy or not. They have kind of the leverage in the court system. And the women in this documentary talk about that. It's just a given. So it doesn't mean it's not coming from some kind of anti woman space. It's coming from a truth and reconciliation conversation that these women are directly to the point. They even mention the relationships of the man gets into another relationship, married or not, or they break up, he's in a relationship, and the woman is mad and not letting him see the kid because he's in another relationship. Like they talk about all of it. So that's just the truth. We have truths about stuff that we do as men, positively or negatively that affect families, person to person. This is just the truth of what they say in regards to what is going on. And women are going to have a problem with that, with them speaking the truth about this. So I think it's something that again people need to see, but I think it's something that we need to have a continue a conversation about. And someone said to me yesterday, a day before yesterday, I hope that young women see this, young daughters that are age 8, 9, and 10 and up. I never even thought about that. But the way they framed it, because it gives them a concrete understanding of how to move if they get into a relationship. So, so yeah, so that was the deal. Like I really
That was my
didn't
next
think of it like
question.
that. Yeah, yeah,
How
yeah.
does this affect the children, or what did you notice, or that you didn't go into that?
Um, well, there's a part one. I mean, this is part one.
Okay,
Yeah, this is part one. So that's
because I don't
part.
know. Have you seen this video on social media? There's this
Yep,
young man.
yep,
His mom told him that
yep.
his dad
I
didn't
saw
want to
it.
be around and all this kind of
Yep,
stuff. And then
I saw
he
it.
talked to his dad. The dad showed him the proof, and
Yep,
his mom was trying to, well,
yeah.
gaslight him. That's you
Well,
don't gonna love me or him, or like, and
yeah.
I'm just like, what does
Well,
that do to a person?
well, when I do the part three, because I was going to base the part three on the part two is all fathers, and then part three is all just kids. And but from having people who know I'm doing this project, having hearing adults talk about that, because he wasn't, I saw that post, but adults have talked about they've had their mom keep them from their dad and how it affected them. And I may have to have, and I didn't want to do this, but I may have to have them in that part three where I'm just interviewing the children and their effects. Because the second one is fathers, but that's another. I kind of didn't want to go down that lane
Correct.
at
But that's
all,
important
actually.
because
But yeah,
most people don't care about the journey. They see the results and how it affects a person. Like
yeah,
they're
man,
not they'll
everything.
do it and not even
Basketball doesn't
care
matter.
about what it does. That like these
Yeah,
women have a lack of empathy for that. And that's where we need to show them
absolutely,
these people.
absolutely, none whatsoever, none
Well, they
whatsoever.
don't realize kind of
They
having the
don't
shoe
care.
on the other foot. Well, no, like having known women in my life personally that have had to fight for access to their children because of one mistake here or there or whatever. Like until you have actually had to fight in the court system, you have no idea because you've never seen what it's actually like on the other side. And I mean, a lot of it goes back to empathy. People don't put themselves in other people's shoes or have any of that stuff. But I think one of the big things here is we really need to have this open and honest conversation. We appreciate you, Professor Noir, for kind of kicking that part off. Now,
Thank
for
you.
myself,
Thank
I
you.
didn't have any problem watching the trailer, and I'm looking forward to watching the whole thing when I get an opportunity to, because I
Uh,
always try to support independent Black media, because we so rarely get to tell our stories that don't have
mhm.
some sort of overarching caucus narrative attached to it, or benefit people by saying like, look, Black people are poor, and it's like, no, like everybody's poor. If you live in Atlanta, you got to make $85,000 a year in order to truly be able to live. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because most people not making 85,000, even
Yeah.
combined.
Yeah. 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 You got that right. It's tough. It ain't
Where can
easy.
we find the documentaries for our audience?
Okay,
And
so I just sent a link to the Gmail, the Everyday
Yep,
Black Man
yep.
Gmail.
okay, yeah, we'll add it to the link when we post it.
Yeah, yeah, everything's on there. So it's at well, I'll give it here. I'll tell you
Which one
because I
benefits you the most? I know there's
the,
different splits for some of these sites, or it's
Yeah,
well
give us
optional.
the
that's
one
a
that gives
whole
you the
nother.
best. The
That's
Give us the
that's
best split for you.
Yeah.
well right now it's only on Vimeo.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and I'll tell you right now, Nware Films, NWAREFILMS dot BHX dot TV. And it's 35.99. You could go there directly and pay for it. So NWAREFILMS dot VHX dot TV. Nware Films dot VHX dot TV. It's on Vimeo. And so there's another platform that breaks all that down. It's gonna and there's all these other platforms, and I chose this one because I didn't have the time because I spent so much time editing. This is a one man project. This whole project, editing the story, all of it, the interviews, all of it. Um, but like I said, the other projects I'm working on hopefully get funding and more support. But this one was solely me, and then I'm going to have to do all the other math on the better platforms. But I think this is gives me a
Okay.
good percentage of the kickback, and then they
And you
take
said it was
a
going to be
small
a
cut.
series, correct? How many parts
Well, yeah,
you thinking?
well, so part, well, I have the titles, I have it written out,
Okay.
everything. So it's ready to go. It's just the interviews. The other film uh, that I've been working on for 3 years is called Black Beaches. That's going to deal with eminent domain, property laws, the Ku Klux Klans, land grab, and all of that, Jim Crow. Even though it's kind of a little bougie thing, the black beaches around America have been historically upper crust, boule,
Upper
brown paper
crust.
bag type of stuff in regards to who owns property on that. And I hate to say that, even talk about that, because I
Yeah.
love us as black people holistically, but we do understand there's differences. But there's still this whole thing around the beaches that have been lost, and in the Gullah Geechee area, you have American Beach in Jacksonville, and Bruce's Beach in California, Sag Harbor in the Hamptons, Oak Bluffs, obviously Martha's Vineyard, Highland Beach, which is Frederick Douglass's kids who put that
Hmm.
together, down in Maryland, Chicken Bone Beach in Atlantic City. I we can go on, and I'm talking about a lot of educated people, well-read people, people who don't have degrees but are well-read and understand things. Never heard of these beaches at all. Like so many people have never heard of these. So I started a project, and it. So I'm so trying to get that out. That was supposed to be
Okay.
released this spring, but I didn't get a grant, and I jumped into this one as I'm working on the other one, and then I got this done because it's a little bit easier process, even though it took year and a half, 2 years. So the next one, uh, I can't really say, but I have the titles for the second one and the third one, which is very
Okay.
similar to this title. So it'll be obvious to know what those other two titles are because it's based on this one. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me, man. Like, I've done small interviews. I don't know if I did I send you the article that was written by Face to Face Africa. Did I text you that or send you guys that?
I don't see it in the opening email. So
Okay,
definitely
maybe
you
I
got to
didn't.
send it to us, and then
Hey,
we can include that as
you
well because we want to
we'll
have
let you
everything.
go because I know you're at a family function. But hey, man,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
we
I
want you
think
to be
you
able to
mentioned
get
some
that
of those
cookout.
magazines. Like as a person who's older, like not older, but I'm